Is it possible to turn visible the invisible Windows borders of Windows 10? Scenario: this is a brief introduction for those who don't know the next information. The new Windows 10's flat window style uses a different window border mechanism than previous Windows versions, which affects in a horrible way the window aspect, and its usage, and the meaning of window resizing and window positioning. Windows 10 by default has a 1px visible border. Notice the word visible, because the reality is that the border width is greater, simply is just an invisible border, that is, the border image resource that Windows 10 uses it only fills 1px of the real width of the window border bounds. No matter how big is the border width, you always will only see 1px border, and here you can imagine by yourself the problem that can cause. In Windows 10, as in previous Windows versions, you can perform some registry changes to increase the window border's width. This is an example of what I mean, for Windows 8. However, as for the bad design rules of Windows 10, if the user tries to reproduce the same registry trick in this OS, nothing will change in the window aspect. You'll end up with a Getter border, yes, but remember that only 1px of that border will be visible, so you'll end up having a damn 1px visible border with a big and a non-being invisible resize handle. This poor, bad, unfriendly, and horrible design decision of Microsoft is a fact, as is also a fact that exists much users who loves this 1px border aspect. Their opinion is respectable. However, honestly those users only fix their opinion on the OS aspect, they don't notice the wrong behavior that 1px border can cause today. WHCH will break the end user productivity and comfortableness, even just with simple things like trying to move a window, or trying to difference which window is over to other, because the border of all windows are invisible. This issue has been discussed over all the internet forums related to Windows 10 personalization. Here is a simple but never-ending discussion topic on a Microsoft community thread for your interest. Windows 10 Windows borders are too thin, Microsoft community. As you can see, the topic has been created 2 years ago, has plus 14.000 views, plus 100 replies, plus 270 recommends, but 0 answers and 0 fixes or responsibilities from Microsoft team. Yes, is very disgusting. Problem: the presence of that damn and uncustomizable 1px border. There is where all the problems and worst nightmares begins with Windows 10. I always loved to use a program named Sizer in previous Windows versions, which is an application that lets you position in any window to customizable pre-established positions for any visible window in just one click. However, this kind of time-saver window organization applications can't work as expected in Windows 10 because the damn invisible border. Because the size of the invisible borders will be someone calculating the position for the window, and this is translated into an annoying empty space on the desktop between the positioned windows and the desktop margins. For those who are familiar with Sizer, this is an image to let you understand what I mean, the blank space between positions, which are the size of the damn invisible border of Windows 10. So, for me and my reasons, having a 1 visible px border is a very big problem that I'm facing every day using Windows 10. I'm really, desperately jaded. I won't roll back to a previous Windows version because I gain more by using Windows 10 OS and its performance advantages. However, the 1px border is the most horrible disadvantage of this OS. I would like to feel happy by having a real window border like in previous Windows versions. This means a border image that fills the entire border width, Like the images of the comparison I published above in the question introduction, I don't want to have a 8px border in which only 1px is visible. That is crazy. I don't know what the hell were thinking the devs who designed Windows 10. If you will give the name Windows to your own OS, then try to design and implement a real window appearance and behavior, then avoid implementing invisible window resize handles for the mother of God. Question: At this point, knowing that in Windows 10 the real border width is 8px, but only 1px is shown, and the rest of the border is just invisible, I would like to ask for a possible solution to turn visible the border in Windows 10. I mean to have a real window border like in previous Windows versions, with a border image resource that fills the entire border width, not an invisible border. I'm aware this question probably needs advanced knowledges, further investigation and personal testing, because Google's result pages will not show anyone how to solve this issue. All the people talk and discuss about this 1px border issue, but nobody seems to know a solution, and worse than that, Microsoft seems as not listening to anyone into the reasonable design of a window. I must say that I have an application named Windows Style Builder, for Windows 10 version, which is able to open a style theme file to edit any image resource contained in the theme. That program was the only hope I found to try find and make greater the border image resource to fill the entire real border width. However, I tried to make bigger all the border image resources used in Arrow theme, but Windows 10 remains showing a 1px border. Seems no matter how much big is the border image resource used to show the border by the theme, seems the display border width is not controlled by the theme itself. I don't really know, so my nightmare is to think that seems a person with reversal engineering knowledge is to create a kind of homemade patch to apply to who knows which executable or Windows resource could be required to solve this annoying issue of Windows 10. I really hope this thing could be solved in a more friendly way. I don't know what more to investigate and to try by myself. Requisites. The only requisite I claim for, is that a possible solution should not imply using a third-party theme like for example Arrowlay. This is because I'm already using a third-party darker Windows theme, so if I change to other, light, theme then I will end up having a new problem. For that reason, please take really into account that my question is how to turn visible the invisible Windows borders of Windows 10, is not which third-party theme I can install to see window borders in Windows 10? Please also try don't focus the question to size or alternatives, those alternatives are welcome and appreciated from my side, of course, really. However, the real problem is the invisible borders of Windows 10, which not only will affect sizer, is a problem that will affect the overall usage of the OS. Update. These paragraphs below are just the argument why Stardock's window blinds can't be described as a solution in any manner. You can ignore all these words below. Obviously Stardock's window blinds will be a good personalization program for other kind of purposes, or for those who feel good using it, but not just for making visible the window borders in Windows 10, for these reasons. Please note that my intention is not to defame Stardock's products or dev team. I had bought Fences years ago and it's a very professional application that I think everyone must have for desktop icons organization. I really can't live without Fences, so I appreciate Stardock's work. The program uses a kind of special technology that seems is not featured in common Windows themes, because it doesn't apply a theme file, neither it doesn't involve the styles file that contains the theme resources and settings as we know. My affirmation above is argumented because after a file and registry monitoring I didn't discover how they add borders to the windows. The program didn't make anything relevant with Windows themes related registry keys or Windows theme files / directories. So I suspect this program must use API hooking techniques on some UX theme with 32 APIs to change the resources at execution time. then an advanced monitoring of the calls to WindoP functions is required to confirm my suspicion. It is an application that implies applying a custom window blinds theme to add borders to the windows, and that consumes much resources, The program changes the taskbar style in the WinStart menu, which affect its behavior. Seems the end user cannot decide to disable those features. I'm not sure, so the usage of window blinds limits you to be unable to use programs like StartUsBack++ to get a decent WinStart menu. I tested it, and it breaks StartUsBack++. On the other hand, probably, StarDocs window blinds should support their StarDocs Start 10 product, just to mention it for those who feel interested, but in my opinion it has nothing better than StartUsBack++. Window blinds really does not turn visible the window borders. What it seems to do is reduce the original window rectangle to print fake borders, which produces a higher non-client rectangle or invisible window borders rectangle more annoying than the Windows 10 default, which totally impossibilities. Even more, the usage of programs like Sizer and etc. to manage the window positions, because this is the real, modified window rectangle after a window blinds theme is applied. We can continue saying that it adds a unwanted shadow over the window, even when you disabled all the effect options in the control panel settings. This is because, as I mentioned at the beginning, this program seems is not using common Windows themes, so the control panel options that affects a window themes will not affect a window blinds themes. Instead, I suspect this program uses API hooking techniques to create the theme environment, and fake borders. Windows blinds has its own effect configurations. As a last disadvantage, window blinds is a paid product, and it is a complete personalization application. I mean that one person should not think to pay for and to install a full suite of personalization just to try to do a single change in a Windows theme.
I have a conjecture. All custom themes are based on editing built-in arrow.styles, or arrowlight.styles, located at %vendor%\resources\themes\arrow. Arrow comes with fixed 1px border, while Arrowlight has 18px border, configurable through registry or WSB, 9px or above remains invisible. So far there is no public documentation on how to build styles from scratch. As such, whether your theme has configurable visible border depends on which default styles was based on. You are advised to seek professional assistance at Virtual Customs.
This may not be exactly what you are looking for, but it might assist you. If you go to System or right-click this computer and go to Properties, then on the left click Advanced System Settings, click the button Settings in the Performance group box under the Advanced tab, and then set the machine to adjust for best performance. After you do that, click OK and let the settings kick in. Then try dragging a window around and you will see the invisible border box you are looking for that exists in prior versions of Windows. Perhaps you can leverage that.
Copy, paste from Reddit because links die. On the default theme, you can change the border padding. Although the change will be invisible, you'll still be able to resize the window with the now thicker border though. To do so, you just need to open the registry editor, and navigate to key_current_user/control panel/desktop/window metrics. From here, just edit the value called padded border width. The formula is -15 border width, so if you wanted a 4px thick border, you can set -60. Just sign out and back in or restart and you'll be able to utilize the changes. Alternatively, you can enable the Arrow Light theme, which is very similar to the Windows 8 theme. It already has the thicker borders by default, but they can be customized the same way as above, however you'll actually see the changes. To enable the theme, navigate to c:\resources\themes\arrow/ and run arrowlight.visualstyles. Arrow.visualstyles is the default theme if you want to switch back. If this is too much effort, you can use WinArrow Tweaker, which has a GUI to alter all these settings and loads more stuff, and reset buttons in case you break something. However, as a general warning, there are some bugs with altering window border thickness and scaling, so I'd only recommend attempting this if you have your scaling set to 100%.
Have you tried Divi? They have a Windows version and I believe I use it in the same way you use Sizer. I just tested to see if I get a gap between windows using Divi by putting a bright blue paint behind two Chrome windows sized using Divi, and I couldn't see through the windows to the background. I know it's a paid product and not necessarily the fix you're looking for, but seems to be able to do what you want Sizer to do. Perhaps it internally corrects for the transparency you're mentioning in Win 10. Divi link, Windows.
Is also workshop, even notices